So I want to talk about the biggest unreported crime that exists all across the state of Florida. It happens right underneath the noses of family members and friends all the time, and I'm going to lay it bare with some very specific examples. It's the exploitation of a vulnerable adult. And I want people to understand that when we think about a elder or a vulnerable adult, statute defines it as 60 years old that has any kind of impairity or infirmity. And the reality is it's so broad that this could apply to just about anybody. You'll hardly find a 60-year-old, 70-year-old that's not being treated for something that could conceivably bring them under the definition of protection for exploitation. And let's talk about exploitation, what it means. I'll use a particular example. So, got a couple really successful. They got a big business up north, been very successful their whole lives, making lots of money. They retire somewhat early, come down here with a really big nest egg, buy a big, beautiful house, have their own separate kind of investment. So in one column, mom has her stuff from a successful career and family. In another column, dad has all his stuff from a very successful career and family. And then they have this big, beautiful house together. Well, it becomes clear as things are moving along that dad's sort of slipping a little bit. And it becomes clear he's got some physical conditions. He's got some light mental conditions. Not really blunt or dramatic, but it's clear that he needs a little assistance. And so at a family meeting, it's decided that what we need to do is to sell the big fat family home and let's go to a downsized place where dad can get the care that he's entitled to. So the family collectively, again, two sets of kids over here, two sets of kids over here, and a spouse that's very connected and involved, consent to this. And the kind of house is sold, they move down south into a place, a better place where dad's getting the care that he's entitled to. And the surviving spouse is a little disconnected from what's happening financially. This is very common in families. There's some privacy around finances, right? So again, her column's really solid. She's got support. She knows money's there. She knows dad is got plenty of money, her husband, and is supported by kids who are trusted at the time. And so she's not particularly engaged in overseeing the day-to-day or month-to-month aspect of her husband's finances. Because again, she's trusting the kids there. So anyway, dad's being taken care of in a somewhat okay facility. In retrospect, not nearly as proper given this guy's financial condition, but okay, he's in there and everybody's kind of moving along. Well, along comes the death of her husband. And it's at that moment where some red flags start popping up. She's expecting there to be an estate where other kids, other family members and stuff were participating because that's what had been discussed the entire lifetime, right, between husband and wife. Well, lo and behold, as we start digging into this, turns out that they're saying there is no estate. And you start scratching the head, wife starts scratching the head, other family members are scratching the head. What are you talking about? We know that dad had this big column of money, and we know that he was very responsible with the money. So at the point in time when he died, where is dad's money? Well, lo and behold, you start peeling back the onion. You find out that in fact that while dad was under the care of his siblings, his own kids, those kids were siphoning away money in a really significant way. And that is a typical example of financial exploitation that we'll discuss specifically, Florida Statute 825-103. But what I really want to emphasize here is the way it happens given this example, right? So dad has entrusted his kids with the management of his financial affairs, listed as payable on death account or joint signer on account, given power of attorney, given full access to control of the financial affairs under the auspices of being able to, quote, take care of dad. Well, it turns out that the people that were in control of his finances weren't just taking care of dad. They were taking care of themselves with dad's money. And it's only after he dies that the rest of the family starts to look at what's going on here and understand just how bad it is. But the statute is really clear. If you breach the fiduciary duty using power of attorney or commit fraud in obtaining it, abusing the powers, wasting, embezzling, and here's a key one: acting contrary to the principal's sole benefit or best interest. Acting contrary to the principal's sole benefit or best interest. And that's where really this issue of exploitation is defined really clearly. Because oftentimes people get a power of attorney and they don't understand that you cannot spend it for a cup of coffee for yourself if the principal can't consent. Now, that's a bad example because it's little, but what tends to happen in these circumstances is big money spent. And in this statute, it lays out over and over again with excruciating detail, really broad terms under which the agent acting for an elder person cannot use their money, the elder person's money, for their own benefit. And yet this is what happens over and over and over again. So there's a warning out there to anybody that would be acting to help mom or dad or some other elder person. And another warning for any of the friends, family members, and what have you of the elder person who's now being taken advantage of, taken care of by someone. This stuff has got to be monitored. There's got to be a much broader understanding of what exploitation means and how it affects. I can tell you what's going to happen in this particular circumstance. The kids that enjoyed the exploitation are going to face real consequences. And I will tell folks that the sooner you get a hold of what happened and start paying attention to that, and the sooner you can exercise judicial control over them to start bringing this stuff back better, the better. This should happen while the person is alive. But in order for that to happen, both the elder person has to be speaking with other trusted confidants, and other people around have to pay attention to this. But that's financial exploitation of an elder person. That is a hugely unreported crime, and it demands that people start paying attention to this and start reporting it.